Welcome back to the touchline here on Y254 on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. From wherever you are watching us from using the hashtag touchline Y254, you can tell us how you're enjoying your weekend as we have got big matches happening this afternoon. Will it be the last day of Jose Mourinho? That will be on our last segment. But for now, we tend to bring our discussion back to Harambee Stars and the hurdles they are going through to qualify for the 2019 AFCON Qualifier in Cameroon. We are still with Ronnie Aloyo here, who is my co-host today, and also joining us has to be the happiest footballer at the moment because the team he played for is up now in the league.
Exactly.
And the team you played for is also the defending champion.
Yeah, actually, two teams I played for are already contending to be promoted in the Kenya Premier League, that is KCB and Western Stima. And also the one team I played for also are the current champion. So it's a good day for me. Actually, it's a good year for me.
It's a good year. I saw your memorabilia on Twitter the other day when you were parading all your jerseys. Have you framed them already?
Yeah, I know Ronnie can't forget that day when we won the league in 2013. Being an FC Leopards fan. Yeah, but it was a good day. And at least I just had to remind myself of the good old times we had with the team back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
You must be disgusted at what is going on with the Harambee Stars at the moment.
Yeah, it's very discouraging because, you know, these are national team. You don't expect such things to happen to the national team. Maybe you expect them to happen to the smaller clubs and maybe the lower tier clubs. But again, it speaks volumes about how the government is committed towards sports, because I don't think they're showing any interest at all in trying to promote sports in the country. Because you can't believe that a team like the national team lacks the funds to maybe travel and honor an away fixture.
Yes.
You can imagine this is just a qualification match, a qualifier. So you can imagine maybe if we manage to go all the way to the AFCON or maybe even to the World Cup, maybe the problems we'll be facing in future. So I think it's so discouraging, and hopefully something will be done, because I think the boys have been doing well, and we can't wait all the way until the last minute. That's when we are trying to disappoint them. So something must be done, and maybe hopefully things will change.
Ronnie, you must also be this guy. As a sports journalist, you have covered Harambee Stars all the time. We still go back to the same problems of finances.
Well, as we initially discussed, there's been talk, a trending hashtag through the week.
Yes.
Why Sports Kenya.
Yeah.
I suppose it's been trending through the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Because fans trying to raise questions on why Harambee Stars is not getting the proper support from the government and so on. But, well, from my own perspective, I think it's a chicken and egg question, because first, who do you blame really? Is it the government entirely or also FKF?
Yes.
Because when Nick Mwendwa sought the presidency, he assured us and the football nation that he'd do a few things to improve the troubles that were there in the yesteryears.
Yes.
But then that has not changed. Really, we still are having the same problems. Remember, during the Sam Nyamuya's tenure, the team failed to travel to, I think, Comoros, and really traveled traveled really late in the night on a very risky plane. So I think, for me, the government and the federation are all to blame, because there are so many things that have not been done right. I'm confidentially aware that like about 2 weeks to this encounter, the federation was writing to various potential sponsors to try and get some money to support the team, but it was too late in the day, because you can imagine just 2 weeks to a very crucial encounter, and you're trying to run around to get the finances. So I think, for me, it's a problem that falls on both sides, the government and the Football Kenya Federation.
Ronald, as a player, what goes on in your mind right now? Because you have not been in residential training, you have been doing non-residential training. You're supposed to fly to Ethiopia. Allowances, you're not sure that you are going to get your allowances. Back here at home, we expect a win from you in Ethiopia. What goes on through players' minds right about now?
Well, just like I said before, it's so discouraging, because, you know, look at the first match they played. They beat Ghana here at home. And I think the momentum was already with us. So to hear such stories like we don't have the funds to maybe buy the air tickets to even have a residential camp in our own country, I think it's so discouraging. But more so even to the professional players, maybe the likes of Victor Wanyama, Michael Olunga, who will be traveling all the way to Ethiopia to link up with the team. But having said that, generally it's just disappointing, and even if they lose against Ethiopia, I don't think they'll be to blame. The blame will lie fairly and squarely on maybe the federation and the government for letting down the boys. They've done their part. They showed a lot of potential playing in the first match and even beating Ghana at home. And to have all these issues at the last minute, it's just uncalled for. And maybe in future we should have better preparations, and everything should be put on the table much earlier so that we can avoid such things in the last minute.
Let's listen in to Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendo on his appeal for government and funds to come up and support the Harambee Stars trip to Ethiopia.
But I'm pleased that we could beat a team like that. Now everybody in the team has got 3 points. And so we have an equal chance to qualify for Cup of Nations 2019.
Kenya's hopes of qualifying for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in 14 years risks not being realized, as FKF President Nick Mwendo has disclosed that the federation is unable to cater for all the costs for the upcoming trip to Ethiopia.
So we have gone up and down with the ministry, and yesterday they were able to send us 7.3 million of the 25 million we requested for. So today in the morning the CEO has informed me that we have received 7.2 million, which only covers flights and accommodation. So as I speak to you, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have money to pay the players their allowances. We do not have money to pay the coaches their allowances and other logistics around Ethiopia.
This comes as Harambee Stars coach Sebastian Minye has written to the federation, putting it on notice of unpaid salaries dating back 3 months.
As an individual, if you have not been paid for 3 months, how would you feel? You understand what I'm saying? So I know that he's motivated. I have had a chat with him. There's a way in which he wants to get a job done. It's a good job. He has put in writing and said, I need to be paid by 15th, all my monies. And I think that's the only issue. I think he's motivated to get the job done. I think he wants to get it done. If we meet our obligations, I think the coach is happy.
The federation has been struggling with matters finances since the exit of partner SportPesa and the decision by Kenya Revenue Authority to freeze their accounts due to a tax bill from the previous regime only worsens the current situation. Harambee Stars local-based players and coaches are scheduled to leave on Sunday evening for Ethiopia, with the foreign-based players joining them a day later. The team is scheduled to fly back immediately after the first leg on Wednesday, with the return leg match set for Sunday at the Kasarani Stadium.
Well, the appeal for President Nick Mwendo on Kenya getting that money. So far, they have been given 7.2 million to travel for that class in Ethiopia. They had given a budget of 25 million, and their yearly budget that they had given to the Ministry of Sports was 889 million for all their projects that they were supposed to do this year, and also qualify for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. We can lay blame on FKF and government, but what can be the final solution? Because now where we have reached, this is a recurring problem from the former regimes up to today. We are getting that. What can be our solution, Ronnie?
Well, for me, the solution lies in FKF, because historically the government has never been interested in putting in the money in sports.
Yes.
Since time immemorial, when Kasarani was constructed together in Nyayo, the government has done very little to construct extra stadia, and the government really, for political reasons, wouldn't put in as much money into sports as it would in other projects. So for me, the goodwill starts from FKF. FKF has the potential to go out, get potential partners to meet the team's obligations, because the government will give you some money, but that will never be sufficient.
Yes.
But then again, from a personal opinion, I think FKF messed a little bit, because they got some 130 million from FIFA for football development, and they invested the money in getting an Obivan to broadcast matches, and that's not generating any revenue for them. I think it was an ill-advised investment for the Football Kenya Federation.
Actually, you are trying to go into an industry which you don't know how that industry works, because that Obivan is one.
Exactly. So for me, that money would have worked better if it went to develop football pitches, develop talent, develop coaches. That would have worked much better rather than putting the money in a project that does not generate any revenue at all for the federation and the national team at large.
Ronald, you have been a player and now you're back to school actually doing sports management and everything. What can you advise the federation to do?
Well, I think just like my colleague Ronia said, we need to put our house in order first. Because, you know, we can't expect to attract more donors or maybe sponsors into our league or to try and chip in to help our national team or our clubs if we can't put our own house in order first. So I think the only thing we can do right now is to put our house in order and try to make sure the way we run and manage football in our country is totally different from how it used to be before. Because, you know, that's why you see the government is really reluctant, even other companies, they're reluctant to maybe try and come into and sponsor sports in our country. So I think the blame should lie fairly and squarely on us, maybe the stakeholders who are really managing football in the country. So that if we professionalize our game, it will be easier for us to maybe try and attract more sponsors, and we can package our league, our football in such a way that any company will not think twice in trying to sponsor us.
Although not want us also to lose what the president has said, that look, he says the coach has given notice to be paid by the 15th, but he also says the coach is motivated and wants to get the job done in a way he knows best. I think Ronald will tell you that there comes a point where the team, the players themselves come together and say we have to do this. I think then that's also the point that the national team players now have to have reached, because the rubber has met the road. It's a do or die really, and I think for these players it's a perfect opportunity for them to not only carry the national flag high, but also their own careers to grow a notch higher by qualifying for the AFCON. So I think just besides all that's happening away from the field, there comes a time when the players now have to psych themselves up and go into battle and do the job.
In short, the country is coming first. The country must come first.
The country must come first. But the major problem will be now, we have the local best players going. And when you look at what is happening today, the Tottenham versus Cardiff match, their front magazine page program has Victor Wanyama. If we don't have the funds to only cater for the local best players, the air tickets of the local best players, do you have the confidence of the likes of Wanyama and Olunga joining the team on Monday in Addis Ababa?
Well, I've seen from time, because up until now, a player like Arnold Origi is still claiming money from FKF in ticket fees. So, well, I know Wanyama is patriotic enough. I know Olunga is patriotic as well. So for these international players, we've seen, besides what's happening locally, they've always just done the job, flown into the country, played and gone back. So for them, I don't think it's really a question of if FKF will provide tickets, although that's not really the proper way to do it.
It's a big one for Kenya. Actually, let's hope that Harambee Stars can go ahead and qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations. But if you look at what has been happening on Twitter using the hashtag #WhyAlwaysSportsKenya, you can go actually to that hashtag and you can learn and see the problems Kenya has been going through. Some of the things that are there is actually people telling the Kenyan government and everybody of how bad we have been doing. Look, someone like Carol who tweets, you promised us so much, the G5 stadia, Agawat, just ulcers. What is not happening here? Those are some of the things there. Harambee Stars coach has not received a salary for the last 3 months. What is he going to do? So when you just go there, you can learn of everything that has been happening for Harambee Stars. But away from that, now let's dwell in to the football matters. Sierra Leone is out, has been banned by FIFA, and they are not competing in any FIFA-sanctioned matches. Now it is up to 3 teams in the Group F challenge. Kenya is in number 2. What does this mean for Kenya now?
Kenya can only dream. We almost, it's almost a reality, really.
Yes.
We can only dream of AFCON again after so many years out, 14 to be precise, in the cold. So for me, The trip to Ethiopia is very crucial for this team. We did the job here beating favorites Ghana 1-0. If we can go and get a result away in Addis Ababa, be it a draw or 3 points, that would be very good, because coming back home on Sunday, then we can get maximum points. But for me, very important, we must get the job done in Addis, because that also creates the momentum for the next couple of matches, because I know going to play Ghana away, it will be a tough one.
Because now Kenya has now remained with actually 3 matches: Ethiopia away, Ethiopia home, then Ghana. What are the odds of us now being in the number 2 position in Group F, Ronald?
I think after 14 years being out in the cold, we've never stood a better chance to qualify for the AFCON like we have right now.
Yes.
So I think it's just a matter of getting at most 4 points. So I think what the boys should be doing is maybe make sure they get a result away from home, especially in Ethiopia. If they can manage to get a draw,
yes,
and then maybe come back home and get a win against Ethiopia, because I think the match against Ghana, we should just forget about that, because there's no way lightning will strike twice.
Yes.
We can't beat them at home, and there's no way we're going to beat them away at their place. So I think we only stand a chance if you can manage to get results against Ethiopia, and hopefully hope that the suspension against Sierra Leone is not lifted anytime soon, because it's a blessing in disguise. It's not our problem that Sierra Leone has been banned. That's their problem. For us, we should only concentrate on maybe trying to make sure that we get the 4 points that we need. That is, if we can do a double against Ethiopia, which won't be an easy match, by the way, it won't be an easy match, but if we can do a double against them, or we can get the 4 points we need from them, the better for us. So I think we stand a very better chance of qualifying for the AFCON after 14 years.
Ronnie, with all these hurdles that we have gone through, which is the best results that we can come back with from Ethiopia?
For me, a draw.
A draw.
Yeah, I also believe it's a draw. We can do the best.
All of them are going for a draw. So Kenya will be playing Ethiopia on 10th and the 15th, away on the 10th and then the 15th, here at home for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier for the 2019 that will be happening in Cameroon. Will Kenya be there after 14 years? The last time we were there was back in 2004 in Tunis. So let's see if Kenya can make away with that one. But still in football, now let's come back here at home. The Kenya Premier League season is coming to an end today. The NSL is also coming to an end. We have got relegation and promotion. But for you, Ronnie, what have been your winners and losers of the Kenya Premier League season this time round?
Well, the winners for me are Gor Mahia, expectedly so, because from the start of the season you could tell they were the champions in waiting. They went ahead well in time, and they've really maintained the momentum, except in the last 5 or so matches where they've just been a bit careless and reckless. But anyhow, for me, they are the best performers in the season so far. But then the contender of flop for the season for me is Posta Rangers.
Yes.
Now in the relegation zone, very, very surprising, because Posta has all the money, Posta has the quality, the experience.
Yes.
One of the best local coaches, Sam Pamzo Molo. I just do not know where it went wrong for them, but well, it's a big shame for Posta, and for me they are one of the major flops for the season.
They started very well, Ronald. The Posta Rangers started very well in the first half of the season. Where do you think it went wrong? Because Pamzo signed experienced players. He himself is a good manager. What do you think went wrong for Posta?
Well, I'd like to give an example. Just like us a season back while at Madara United.
Yes.
We started so well in the first leg. But when the second leg came, we were really struggling. Though we weren't cash-strapped financially or anything. But things were just going on the downfall. So I think it's the same situation with Posta. And they've lost a lot of matches back-to-back. And also, you know, at such a time, the confidence levels of every player goes down on the low. Plus the goalkeeper, you know, he's been conceding a lot of goals in the last minute. So I think it's more of being mentally strong, and they've not been that mentally strong, because you know, in the second leg the league is always tough. That's without a doubt, the league's always tough. So I think they've been overwhelmed by the results that they've been getting, that is losing a lot of games, and that has really demoralized them. So it's all about now maintaining the focus in the last game.
But for me, one thing I've had a problem with for the last 4 seasons is there's no team that seems to have the quality to rival Gor Mahia. Because from the onset of the season, you look at the Gor Mahia side and it was a done deal. After 5 matches, people knew Gor Mahia is going on. What do you think is wrong with the likes of Ulinzi, who is a former Premier League winner? Tusker is a former Premier League winner. They brought in the Lion, and they still cannot rival Gor Mahia.
Well, from about 2010, Gor Mahia they built a core of the team.
Yes.
They got in. You remember at that time there was Blackberry, Baldwin Gua, the Cameroonian.
Yes.
Frederick Onyango. So they built a core for the team. Then through the years they've recruited properly. You got to give it up to the team because they've gotten it right in terms of recruitment, although they messed up this year by releasing Walusimbi and Kagere. But anyhow, they've really gotten it right in terms of getting the right players into the team, right replacements and so on. So that for them has been working just spectacularly, and I think it makes the whole difference because look at the other teams, there are so many ins and outs, and there's no stability, and you really cannot find a player who's been there for quite some time. If you compare FC Leopards to Gor Mahia man to man, FC Leopards hardly has any player who's been there for more than 5 seasons, so keeps changing every other time like diapers. For Gor Mahia, it's been the other way. They maintain the main players, then they keep recruiting perfectly.
Perfect players to come on board. FC Leopards, another season where it's been tough for them, Ronald. Well,
I think the person who's in a good position to tell us who's FC Leopard face is Ronnie. But having said that, I think you rarely see an FC Leopards ardent fan admitting that Gor Mahia has been the better side. But it's true, Gor Mahia, they have done so well in the season, and I think most teams should emulate them. For FC Leopards, I think, to me, I just think this would have been their season, but they've changed coaches a lot. And maybe the problem doesn't even lie in the coach or the players. Maybe the problem even maybe lies in the management. But time and time again, we've seen the coach coming and going. And also, we've read from some different blogs and news somewhere that they're planning to drop a total of 11 players.
Yes.
That's a very huge number you're trying to let go. So it's like, again, they'll be starting another rebuilding process. Plus, to me, I expect FC Leopards to be rivaling Gor Mahia. But of late, we are seeing the likes of Mathare United getting a better hand of Gor Mahia. And even I was speaking to some Kariobangi Sharks players, and they were telling me next season that people will be seeing a totally different Shark side. So it won't just be FC Leopards or Gor Mahia. People will be talking about Kariobangi Sharks. So I think it's high time maybe FC Leopards should try to clean their house and maybe try to get everything going for them, because they're a big club, known everywhere in Africa. So, but the results they've been getting probably hasn't been what many people expect. But to me, they have a very good team with a very good young players. So it's just about giving them time, maybe to try and prove their worth in the league.
A tough one for FC Leopards. The good thing he has brought in Kariobangi Sharks. Kariobangi Sharks has to be a winner for the last 2 or 3 seasons that they have been in the Kenyan Premier League, also capping it with playing the final second time in the FKF Football Shield.
Well, at the start of the season, naysayers thought that Kariobangi Sharks will probably be in the relegation zone at this point in time, because they lost a couple of very good players. But now it's been the other way around. The coach Muluya has been very good for the team. He's been one of the mainstays in that Kariobangi Sharks club. He's brought together the young players. He has a winning mentality. He has a philosophy that he's been able to implement at the club, and I think that has worked for them. Congratulations to Sharks for getting to the finals of the Shield Cup for the 2nd year running. And I think they're strong contenders to lift the cup this time.
And also, if I can add on that, I think one thing that maybe stands out for Kariobangi Sharks is they have a policy of not signing players with the above 25 years of age. And if you're over 25 years of age, if they'll have to sign you, must be an exceptional talent. That's why you've seen them. They basically have a policy of maybe trying to recruit a younger squad, a younger team, younger guys to come into the team, because they have a vision of maybe trying to mold these guys into some future stars, and maybe even who will be playing for Harambee Stars in future, maybe taking us to the World Cup or AFCON. So kudos to them, because it's been working. Many times people have said that maybe you can play with the kids in the Kenya Premier League, but they proved everyone wrong. So I think kudos to their policy of maybe trying to giving the youth a sporting chance, just like the way Mathare does.
And William Muluya has to be one of the contenders of manager of the season with Kariobangi Sharks.
Yes, he does, although he's picked form really late in the league. For me, if you look at the managers, if you were to rate the managers, Dylan Carr certainly carries the day.
Yeah.
But also Bernard Mwalala has done some amazing job, and you got to give it up to him as well.
Actually, Ronnie, Bandari has also has to be a winner this season because they have actually managed to come to number 2 position. It's their best position that they have had so far in the Kenyan Premier League since it was incepted.
Yeah, you know, in the previous season, last season actually, Bernard Malala did some proper job, some decent job at Nzoia, but then when this season started, there was a bit of leadership wrangles in the club and fallout, so he quit and now went to Bandari. Many thought he wouldn't replicate his performance at Bandari, but now he's really brought out the best out of Bandari. Handed Gor Mahia the first defeat of the season in style, and he's now at 2nd position. That's quite a performance from Malala.
Well, Bernard Mwalala is actually one of the best managers. Of him and William Muluya have actually impressed, and they have shown that we have got young managers who are coming up for the team. But we have got to talk about the 2 teams who are going on to the relegation battle. Thika United and Wazito have already been confirmed to going to be playing in the NSL next season. What would have gone wrong with Thika?
Well, one thing is obvious. You can't run a team without having the finances to run a professional club, and it's a characteristic that I've seen in most clubs that are getting relegated most times. If you look at a team like Wazito, they have good players, they have a good coach. If you look at Thika United, also they concentrate much on recruiting boys from school. They have a very good team, but I mean, you can't run a team if you're not financially stable, because a lot has not been said about Thika United maybe not paying players and all that, but it's true that we can't run away from the fact that they've been cash strapped most of the times this season. And look at a team like Wazito, they haven't been paying their players and all that, so it's so difficult to play in the top tier league if you can't run a team, if you can't manage a team well, especially when it comes to finance. And again, having said that, look at the teams that are getting promoted. Look at Western Stima, look at KCB, look at Ushuru, and look at Nairobi Stima, who are also in contention. They have one thing in common: they're very stable financially. They're being managed well. And look at the team that won the league. Look at the top 5 teams. Look at maybe Gor Mahia, look at Ulinzi, look at Tusker. They all have one thing in common: they are stable financially. You don't hear all these woes of maybe financial problems and all that most of the times. So I think it speaks volumes for itself that maybe the teams that are getting promoted should learn one or two things from Thika and from Wazito. That for you to run a professional club professionally, you must have the proper structures in place, and you also must be stable financially.
Big teams that are coming up, Ronnie, we have got KCB coming up, we have got Western Stima coming up, and then Ushuru will be playing the playoff with Posta Rangers if their matches today go according to their plan. But the big question will be, Western Stima and KCB were mainstays at the Kenyan Premier League. Do you think they have learned their lesson at the NSL and they'll never be joking around when the season kicks off in December?
Well, last season, KCB again were just a little unlucky not to qualify and come back into the top flight football. They have very good players for sure. If you've watched them in the NSL, they're playing very well. They're scoring goals. Even players who are not at their best, like someone Abuko, formerly of FC Leopards, they're doing very well. So I think they've really learned their lesson, and you can expect them to really give the other teams a run for their money once they're back into top flight football. So Western Stima and KCB, good teams back into the league.
Yeah, I'd also like to say that they've learned their lesson, because there's no tougher league like the NSL.
That's what I was going to ask you.
There's no tougher league like the NSL. We saw KCB going down, and they've really struggled to coming up. We've seen City Stars going down, they've never come back. So it's a tough league, and I think what worked out really well for Western Stima is the moment the team was relegated, that I can confirm. You know, we expect a team when it's relegated, maybe we expect players to take a pay cut from the allowances to maybe even the salary. But what they did, they doubled everything.
Wow.
From the allowances to the salary. That's what Western Stima did. That's why we saw maybe the influential players like maybe Kefa, Kevin Okoth. He moved to Tusker, which is a big club. But what did he do? Again, he was recalled back to his club at the beginning of the season, because they knew he's a playmaker of the team. But they had to recall him back. They had to double his salary, whatever he was about to get a Tusker, they had to double that. And so I think it was all about the motivation factor, and so they had their goals put in place, and they had one main goal, only to come back into the Kenyan Premier League. And also, having said that, one other team, KCB. I call them the money bags of the NSL.
Yes.
The Man City, because actually I've been there. I know everything that goes on inside there.
Yes.
They pay really well, and so as a player, when you're motivated by you have a good salary, you have a good allowances, you don't have to focus on other things. You have to focus on what has brought you there, just is to play football, and that's why you are seeing them performing so well. The same can be said about Nairobi Stima and also Ushuru. That's why they are in the third place contention, both of them. So it's all about just motivating your players, because NSL is a tougher league, and I don't know if Thika will come back. Maybe unless they change things, though it will be a tough season for them.
Actually, when you look at the log for the NSL side, all the top 4 teams, actually the top 5 teams are all sponsored.
Exactly.
So Western Stima, KCB, Nairobi Stima, Ushuru, and Bidco United. The war now will be between Nairobi Stima and Ushuru. Can you give a winner in that one?
If you look at both teams, both have experienced players in their team. So very good teams, very good players. Tactically, the coaches again very experienced. They've been at the top level. So for me, that's a very close one. But I tend to give Ushuru an upper hand to qualify back to the Kenyan Premier League.
Well, that is all that is happening here in the country. It is the last day of the Kenya Premier League today, and one match that people will be keeping their hands on will be between Homeboys and Posta Rangers, because that match, Posta Rangers needs a win to actually get out of that playing position where they will be playing the number 3 side in the NSL side. Other matches that will be going on this afternoon will be Kariobangi Sharks versus Chemelil. Mathare United will be welcoming Ulinzi Stars. The Nakma to play Vihiga United. Sony Sugar will be playing Wazito FC. Wazito have already been relegated. It's also a big match in Thika today between Tusker FC versus Gor Mahia. Who is going to win that one? Then we'll have Zukericho versus Sofapaka to finish off the day. Zukericho, Madonia, people never expected the most valuable player of the Kenya Premier League to actually prove his critics wrong.
Well, probably underrated. Awarded the MVP last season, and Isaias said he didn't deserve, but well, he's come into the league, he's scored the goals, he's been very outstanding for his side. So you got to give it up to Madoya. I think it's now high time for him to move to a bigger club and get a bigger challenge.
Golden Boot is also on the way today to Isenge. Is chasing it, 15. Madoya's 14 goals is also coming for it. It will be a tough last day of the season.
Yeah, it will be a tough race because, most of them, I think they're tied at 15 and 14 goals. But maybe I'm tipping my money on Madoya because, he's underrated. A lot of people, maybe they've questioned him a lot, but kudos to him because he's been proving his critics wrong, and I think he'll be more celebrated maybe if he moves away from his team and maybe go to a bigger club, maybe Tusker, maybe FC Leopards, maybe Gor Mahia. So I think he'll make a name for himself. So I think it's high time for him maybe to move away from there because he's done it twice in a row. He's proved himself. So I think he has nothing else to prove at the club.
Even deserves that call up to the national team.
He really deserves it.
A big one there for us when it comes to Kenyan football. We have been dwelling in some of the matches that will be happening today in the NSL to determine how Ushuru and Nairobi Stima are going to fight for that one. St. Joseph versus Kibera Stars at 1 p.m. Coast Stima versus Nairobi City Stars. Then at 2 p.m. will be GFU 105, which is likely also to go down and down from the Super League. We cannot finish this conversation. Kangemi All-Stars is also playing today. Nairobi Stima versus Police. So if Nairobi Stima manages to win that one, they'll be actually now comfortably with 71 points and they'll be standing a chance to go up there. Then Bidco United versus Migoro Youth, Administration Police versus Modern Coast Rangers, then Green Commandos versus Kisumu All-Stars, Nakuru All-Stars versus Ushuru. Actually, Nakuru All-Stars have also been relegated. Thalanta versus KCB today. So, it is a tough one for the NFL. Moroni Youth, could you believe their first season in the NSL and now they are going to be relegated again to Division 1 now?
Well, again, talking money matters. Moroni face the same problems, money and management tools. So going down, no surprise.
Well, I think there's a conversation we'll have to continue another time because the NSL has proved to be a tough league, as you have had it. When we come back, we'll be all about the fan zone. Is Zinedine Zidane the next manager at Manchester United, or it will be Mauricio Pochettino? For now, it is Know Your Sport, and this time it's football. And Maxwell Wasike had a chat with the Mathare United coach Francis Kimanzi on what happens with the new rules of football.